about me. Who is this guy? This is my newer headshot than the old one there, so I'm smiling now. So I'm a little happier now than I was a year ago. But you're wondering who I am. I'm the Senior Vice President of West Music, as well as the President of NAMM Young Professionals. And it's an organization that all of you guys are invited to join. So right now you're here for GenNext. The next step in your evolution in the music industry, if you're looking for your tribe, is going to be NAMM Young Professionals. And we'll talk a little bit about how to make those connections at the end of the talk. But that organization is really dedicated to building the future leaders of the music industry, and that's all of you guys right here. So thanks for showing up. So first, a question for you guys that are here. How many of you guys know the path you want to take in the music industry? Raise your hand. All right, excellent, cool. You, sir, right here with the glasses. What do you want to do? Radio personality. Okay, awesome. Young woman over there, you raise your hand. Yeah? Royalties accounting? Fantastic. Cool. How many people want to be a music educator in the room? Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your work is extremely important. How many people want to be a radio producer, engineers, stuff like that? Like this gentleman here. Yep. Couple? Great. Who out there wants to start their own business? Yeah, all right, entrepreneurs, go for it. Yeah, take risks. And who wants to be in retail sales? Yes! You're my favorite person here. Thank you so much. The rest of you guys, you'll get around to it, trust me. I had the same perspective. Who's got the newest idea for the biggest brand new instrument that doesn't exist yet? Anyone? Raise your hand. Darn it, I was hoping to get on the ground floor on that one. So, all right, we'll go ahead and get started. My path to the industry wasn't very straightforward, as it might sound. Yeah, I'm the third generation of a family-owned business, but I didn't really have a plan or an expectation to be part of that business. I spent my life starting really to explore other creative endeavors. I spent about 10 years in New York and Boston, getting my BFA and MFA in theater and acting and performance. And I also pounded the pavement as a performer for quite a while. So when I was 18 years old, I packed up all my stuff in Iowa, and I moved it all to the East Coast, not looking back, thinking, why would I want to go do some family music business in the state of Iowa? And it was more than a family music store, and I knew that, but I just didn't have a really good perspective of what I could achieve or what could I accomplish or engage with in the music industry, where I could participate and how dynamic of an industry it is. And so it took me 10 years to figure that out. So all of you guys have a 10-year head start on me, so I can't wait to see what you're going to accomplish and how you're going to engage with the music products industry. So the first thing that I wanted to share is the thing that I did that first 10 years, which is to follow your passions. So those folks that know your path, pursue it and pursue it fully, because what you're going to find there is you're going to learn so much along the way. And it's going to be the reason why you're going to get up early to come to sessions, as well as stay up super late to check out some of the incredible performances tonight. I included one of my passions here. That's food. I love cooking. I love food. That's a picture from Instagram from Blue Apron. That's not what I cooked. I cooked that meal last week. It didn't look like that, but it was as delicious as that picture looks. But as you're following your passions, be open to the other possibilities. And that's what happened to me, because what I found is the music products industry has so many different ways to engage and interact with. So what might seem like your passion right now, or might not seem like your passion right now, might be your passion tomorrow. So as I said before, I started 10 years a little late. 10 years passed, I was on the East Coast, and I was talking with my dad, and we were chatting, and I was between gigs or unemployed, if you want to say it that way. But I was talking to my dad, and I said, well, what are you up to? He said, well, I'm going to Music China next week. And he said, do you want to come? And I said, sure. And he said, can you do that? And I said, well, yeah, I don't have a job right now. Of course I can. I was teaching classes a little bit on the side. But what I did is I booked a ticket, and I spent 2 weeks in China. And I went to the Music China show, and I had a chance to visit some factories. And what I saw there was a company and an industry that was so much larger than what I knew or what I thought it was when I first got started. And I had the chance to see that this family music store was truly something else that I could be a part of and something much bigger than I ever thought. So I was hooked. But at the time, I was about 27 years old, and I said, well, when I'm an adult, maybe I'll think about moving back and being part of this. Like when I'm 35 or something like that. So I thought, 8 years from now, I'll get this other stuff out of my system and I'll do it. Well, I didn't have 8 years. About 2 months later, I was home for Christmas, and I had a sit-down meeting with my dad and Robin, who's our CEO and president, and they said they wanted me to come back to join the company. And I did. And you're going to say to yourself, well, yeah, that's great. Good for you. You got to join a family business, successful business, and that's all good for you. So what do I get to do here now that I'm sitting here this morning? And you would be partially right on that. But the reality is that it was an incredible opportunity for me to rejoin a business that I had learned over the years had become a lot more than what I grew up around. And I also learned that that bottom part of that equation, the ability part, was what I had to be proven and tested on every single day for the last 8 years as I've been a part of it. And I don't know if you've had a chance to meet Steve or Robin. If you do, I highly recommend it. They're very accessible people, but they have some really big shoes that I had to fill, and I continue to try to fill those shoes each and every day. I also learned the value of timing, because I came back in 2008. Now, 2008 was the recession, and this was also a flood that happened in the state of Iowa. And so when I was moving back to the state of Iowa, people were like, what are you doing? Where are you going? What's going on? And I said, I'm going to move to Iowa. And they said, well, where's Iowa? We don't even know where that is. And I said, that place on the news that's flooding right now, that's where I'm going. So it may not have been the smartest idea, but it definitely started my process. So I walked into 2008, a recession's happening, as well as a 500-year flood hits the state of Iowa. And the opportunity that I had there was that everything was in transition. Everything was transforming. And what I've learned in the last 8 years of being part of the music industry is that that transformation, that change continues. And being someone who's young and engaged in the industry, you're on the front of that change. You can really see what's coming, and you are going to be the ones that are tasked with trying to figure it out. So the job that I had when I first got started at West Music is they said, oh, you're in your 20s, you know about code, you'll be our e-commerce expert, because that's what companies do. They say, you're young, technology, you get it, go for it. And then that quickly became, oh, social media, yeah, you're 30, you're young enough, you can go do social media. But what it was really is it taught me the lesson that the opportunity that exists for you to be in front of that change and to be part of that change will continue to help give you a lot of opportunities as you move forward in your career. So I had the opportunity over the last 8 years to witness a lot of different parts of our business. Like I said, I started in the e-commerce thing, then I moved over to marketing. Then I had a chance to move over to our wholesale business, and then distribution, and then finally the retail sales organization. So again, shout out to you for retail sales, where I've spent the last 2 years. And what I've had the chance to see in that diversity of experience is a huge education, and it's shown me what's possible in the music products industry. Which brings me to my second point of advice, which is get a diverse range of experiences. There are so many things out there to do, and if you know your path, follow it fully, but be open to what else is out there and expose yourself to that. Because not all the transitions that I went through in my career were planned. Most of them happened because they said, hey, we have an opening, you need to grow and develop, why don't you take it? Now, if you're working at another company or you're doing an internship or you're starting somewhere, I'm going to guarantee that you're going to start working somewhere, you're going to work really hard, and you're going to prove to them how valuable you are and how important you are to their organization. And when that next opening comes up, though it may not be the job that you originally planned on, they're probably going to turn to you and say, hey, Susie, do you want to take this job on? Because you were really good at this other thing over here. So as you continue to get those opportunities and those experiences, say yes to those opportunities. Get the chance to expose yourself to a lot of different parts of the music industry and follow up with the opportunities that you're truly passionate about. And then along the way, build a diverse set of relationships. You guys are here at the NAMM Show, and the NAMM Show is so incredible because it brings so many people together, so many different tribes, as we talked about before. And when you're here and you're exploring the paths and the opportunities that you're interested in, also start getting to know people that you don't know. So if you're here with some other college students or other friends of yours from college, that's great, that's awesome, have a wonderful time. But turn to the person next to you that you haven't met yet and introduce yourself. Because something you'll hear in the music industry, and I've heard it time and time and time again, is that it's a relationship business, and it truly is a relationship business. And the people that are sitting next to you right now will be the people that you will be working with later on in your career in the music products industry. There are companies now that I work with that you say, that person was a sales rep, then they worked over in that retail store, then they worked for that distributor over there, and those relationships last. And so the time that you're having right now is so valuable and so important. And that's really the example that we came to with NAMM Young Professionals. NAMM Young Professionals was kind of an example that was given to myself and CJ Averwater from Amra Music, because we grew up around the industry, and we heard all these stories about these great times that the previous generation had, and that the relationships that they had built there were continuing to be the relationships that they had strong for 30 or 40 years later. And so we said to ourselves, well, why are we not participating in that? And so we really engaged with that. We asked the question, and we tried to figure out a way to reboot it and reconnect with it. And so, as you guys wrap your GenNext stuff over the next couple of days, I want to invite all of you guys to become members of NAMM Young Professionals. And I've got little bling for your badges. You can get little red ribbons for it, as well as you can get these cool NAMM YP shirts. Yeah, I dressed up this morning. I wore a tie. This all harkens back to NAYMM. They used to subject the younger people to wearing red blazers all over the NAMM floor, so you could know who the young people are on the show floor. So we decided to do this red t-shirt as a homage to the way things used to be, as well as continue to nod forward to where we go. So I'm going to give a couple of these away, actually, here after the question and answer session. So our mission for NAMM Young Professionals is to provide the tools to help you guys, the young members of our industry, better themselves, their careers in the music products industry, and the industry as a whole. Because as Mary said, we are the next generation of the music products industry. And though you are just getting started right now, if you're able to pursue your passions, build that diverse range of experiences, and build those meaningful relationships, you'll continue to be at the forefront of this industry as we continue to move forward. And if you think meeting a bunch of new people sounds like networking, it sounds cliched, it sounds inauthentic, I'm going to tell you right now, just get over it. There's some incredible people in this room. And if you don't like the word networking, just think of it as like going social or something like that. So if you've got business cards, exchange business cards. If you don't have business cards, that's fine. Make connections on Facebook or LinkedIn. But these relationships are going to be really key for you moving forward. And if you're still trying to figure out, well, when am I going to make these connections with people? We've got two opportunities for you. One is this evening, actually, Thursday evening, tonight from 8 to 10 at Bullmore, Anaheim, which is up the street on Disney Way in the Anaheim Garden Walk. We're going to have a bunch of people getting together for bowling. It's only going to be, it's $25 a person, but I'll give you a pair of shoes, a drink ticket, and a chance to spend some time with 8 other people on a lane, as well as about 60 or 70 other people this evening. And you can get to know some other people in the industry. The other thing that we do is on Fridays, we have the NAMM YP member meeting, and this is every show on Fridays from 4 to 6. And what we always have there is we have a keynote speaker. We're going to have Bob Taylor there, the president and co-founder of Taylor Guitars, and he'll be there kind of sharing his experience and his story of the music products industry. And then after that, we'll follow that up with a little bit of a social outing as well, so we can kind of continue the conversations and get to know people as well. So, kind of in summary, again, I invite all of you guys to follow your passions. If you raised your hand and you know the path that you're on, continue to follow that path, but be open to what other things that might be off the path. If you're not sure yet, go further, explore all the opportunities here. The show itself is such a wealth of experiences. And have that diverse range of experiences. Don't just pigeonhole yourself from the get-go. You've got a lot of time out there, a lot of time available, and so start exploring and saying yes to those different things. And while you're out there, build meaningful relationships. Connect with people. Make those connections, those lifelong connections that'll last for the rest of your life. And then if you can, make it out to the NAMM YP events this evening and tomorrow. And most importantly, have a fantastic show today. You've got 2-3 great days ahead of you. Explore it all. Don't sleep. Have a great time out there. And I really appreciate the chance to talk with you. And I'll look forward to having some questions here in a second. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Ryan. We're going to have a little chat.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, You didn't talk very much about acting, did you?
I didn't, no.
So,
I mentioned it briefly.
well, we're going to talk about that
Okay.
because I think that's an interesting story. So, you graduated from high school in somewhere near Coralville, right?
Yep, in Iowa, yeah.
And was there an acting program there that?
Yeah, that was my passion in high school, so
Right.
I kind of started that and pursued that for about 10 years, as I mentioned.
All right. So where did you go to acting school then after?
Went to NYU, to the Tisch School,
Yeah.
and did my BFA there.
Which is pretty big time.
Yeah,
To school,
yeah, it was fun,
right? Right.
yeah.
So, and then you actually did acting in New York City.
Yeah, pounded
This
the
is-
pavement for a while.
Right. So, what did you do? What was your?
It was mostly theater stuff, so it wasn't, there was
Well,
no,
what theater stuff?
Oh.
What genre? What?
yeah, off-Broadway, really cool theater, really avant-garde stuff. If I went to it now, I'd be like, what,
All right,
what are you
all right,
doing?
all right.
Yeah, it's
Really
like art for
avant-garde
art's sake.
stuff.
Art for
Okay.
art's sake.
All right.
yeah,
So, what's a famous line you recall from your avant-garde theater?
Oh, I think probably the famous line was I was in a play and I had invited my parents to come to it, and I forgot. I was looking for the right moment to tell them that I'm going to be naked in this play, but I
Little
didn't.
detail.
Well, the show started and I was like, oh, I never told them. Oh, here we go. So yeah.
So, besides that, what did you say?
I think it was like part 3, scherzo. So it was like some music terminology in there. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it was pretty arty out there. So no.
Why I'm asking these questions is I knew your dad during this time. I
Yeah.
came to know him quite well,
Mhm.
and he was shuttling into New York to see you on occasion.
Yeah.
So I was hearing the other side of some
Right,
of these stories, right?
Yeah. So
So the question is then, and you went. I mean, you went really deep into this career.
I did.
I mean, I think this is a really important thing to emphasize. You really, you gave it your all.
Yeah.
You went 100% into that side of your career.
Well, and it taught me, I think one of the things, and I did kind of gloss over it a little bit, but, if for those folks that are out there that are interested in being performers and artists, I mean, the lesson that it taught me is, you've got to be the president of your own company. So I learned a lot about building your brand, sessions that we're going to talk about today, how to represent yourself, how to be professional, but you got to show up every day, and the only person that's paying your bills is you. You're the president of You, Inc. And so I think that experience has informed kind of the role that I have now inside of West Music, and that it's just kind of like, well, what am I going to do today? What do I have to build today to try to make it successful?
And that was my question about the crossover.
Mhm.
What one thing taught you in terms of, and then was it that decision of, well, I really can't do this, so I really should go and do this? I mean, it was more deliberate than that, right?
Yeah.
It was positive to positive. right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I spent 10 years out there, and I was having some good success. And what I saw was, one, to be part of an incredible organization, to continue it on to a third generation of the family, but a fourth generation of leadership. I was really proud that my grandfather started something, and here we just celebrated 75 years a year ago. And then I think most importantly, when I was in New York, I absolutely love New York, and I get there get back as much as I can, but the ability that I can affect change in Iowa as a business owner, as a vibrant part of the music community there, that was really exciting to me. Because as one individual performer, I absolutely had a great time doing that, but I thought that there was such a great opportunity and an impact I could have on my community by coming back.
Yeah, I think that a creative person, a thoughtful person, makes these transitions thoughtfully.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it becomes a dialogue, and but I do remember having dinner with your dad. I think when he was visiting you, and he just came back from Lower Manhattan, seeing something, not really understanding.
I was probably closing that one. There's only one that I was like, yeah.
I also related to it because my parents had a similar experience. I was an avant-garde musician.
Oh, all right.
I was a flute major, and then I went to New York, and my combined teaching with gigging in New York, and it was all avant-garde with, like sand pits and a soprano,
cool.
Charles Ives, Voices of the Whale, and rolling around. And
Laurie Anderson,
yeah,
like all
it
you
was,
guys.
and my parents came out and they kind of went, wow. And they goes, well, she's still, she's not asking for money, so it must
There
be
you
okay,
go. Yeah.
right? So, but yeah, it's the journey and it's the thoughtful. But I want to ask a little bit about the Heartland, and you're going back to the Heartland and the reality of more diverse, of genuine diversity being part of the Heartland experience. And we might say it's 20 years ago, 30 years ago, certainly when I grew up there.
Yeah.
I grew up in Wisconsin. It was not as diverse as it is now. And how is West Music addressing that in its business and its outreach to community?
Yeah, great question. Diversity can mean a lot of different things, hence the word diversity, I guess. But you know, one of the things that we've seen is we expanded into music therapy services to allow people to have access to that power of making music, no matter what your skills or abilities or age is. So that's been one area that we've really focused on. I think the other thing, as we talk about kind of racial diversity, as we see immigration trends and change, as well as we're seeing greater Hispanic populations in the state of Iowa. And so we've been working with Marcia Neal, who's right there. Hi, Marcia. In terms of development of curriculum, as well as support for mariachi in the classroom, because we recognize that traditional school music, which is where that was our DNA when we started, was changing, and it continues to change. And so making sure that we are able to engage with these other populations, these other tribes, that they can feel and find their way in and feel connected to it, because it's not always necessarily the traditional path.
And therefore connected to their community, and therefore connected to everything that they can contribute to a community. And I think this is part of music's power now, more than important than ever, as we face some challenges with community.
Well,
right?
and I think that, you know, the work that you're doing on the music education side, and to you music educators out there, you future music educators out there, there's so much more work to do on a local level, more so than ever before. There always has been work to do, but to advocate at a local level, it's important to have partners that are really engaged in the conversation, wherever you are, whatever state.
And all of the NAMM Foundation's advocacy materials are available in English and Spanish. That's been a real commitment of ours, just to speak to diverse audiences, because families are really committed to the experiences for their children.
Yeah.
And we have to support all of that. So that's been very interesting. You gave some really good overview of NAMM-YP. I forgot that you guys had a bowling party.
Oh yeah, that's our unofficial sport of
Right.
NAMM-YP is bowling.
Boy,
So,
who wouldn't want to miss that? You want to get some real networking. You go bowling
You
with
know,
someone,
I think
right?
it
I
actually
think that's
is,
wonderful.
rather than just going to another cocktail
Can
party,
you
it gives you an action and
me for an
activity
hour?
to do.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
So
You're from the Midwest. You're from the Heartland,
Yeah,
right? So you probably
yeah.
have some bowling in your DNA somewhere.
absolutely. We,
so.
confirmation class.
There
That
you
was
go.
what right. We did a lot of bowling. So this is really wonderful. All that your journey and what you're giving back to NAMM. It's really
Thank
really
you.
great. Really thank you. We want to take questions from the audience. We have a few minutes. You got to stand up and kind of shout them out. Do we have questions for Ryan that we can moderate? Oh,
Right
over here. Let's start with over
We're
here.
going
Just,
over there.
yeah, just use your music teacher voice and.
In the deck, yeah. Advice, let's see. The advice I wish I was given, I mean, I think that the one thing I would say is it's just hard, and you've got to just know that it will continue to get better and it will get easier. I think that, so for me, going and spending 10 years doing something entirely different than coming into the music industry, I don't have the education that a lot of you guys are getting right now. And so I walked in and I was like, okay, so now I'm going to act like a businessman, and I'll figure out how to do a lot of this stuff. And so the learning curve was really steep for me. The first couple of years were really hard, and I think it's gotten progressively easier, as I kind of said before, as I continue to get a diverse range of experiences. I was like, okay, this informs this informs this. But, you know, I think in this time of your career, there's just a certain amount of heavy lifting that takes place right now. That's why it's great to have peers and friends and networks to support you in that.
And have a place like this where you can come and experiment a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Did you go back and get any training? Did you do accounting courses or business course?
I did some like online courses for accounting, yeah.
You got to get the finance stuff
Yeah,
if you're going
but
to do right.
a lot of it's been training on the fly.
And mentoring is just
And mentoring. I mean, having great mentors, Steve and Robin, and I think that's been a real blessing for us. I mean, if any of you folks involved in family businesses, raise your hand. Okay, yeah. It's interesting working with family members. It's its own unique challenge. It's also its own unique reward. But I've really, really valued Robin, who is not a member of our family, but she's our current CEO and president. And she's really become my mentor and been someone that, you can have the familial relationship with your other family members, but you can also have a very professional working relationship with a mentor. And I think that's one of the things that you can accomplish here at NAMM and NAMM-YP is that there are ways to connect with people that are going through it or have been through it or maybe are 5 years or 10 years a little bit further along that you can bounce ideas off of and have kind of that opportunity to vent and to just kind of talk through things.
And there was another question, did you find? Yeah, please stand and shout it out.
What career development opportunities does NAMM Young Professionals have to offer?
Great. Career development opportunities. Right now, NAMM Young Professionals, we do the 2 events. We do a social event on Thursday and then the keynote and networking session on Friday. Between that, this past year, we kicked off an article series in Music Inc. magazine called Next Gen Retailing. And so it's really looking at a voice of someone who's in their 20s and 30s about how they're experiencing and how they're working through the music products industry. And if you haven't subscribed or haven't gotten access to the trade publications, Music Inc. magazine, Music Sound Retailer, Music Trades, Upbeat Daily. MMR, thank you. I was going to miss one there. There's a lot of great continuing education opportunities there as well. So, great
And
question.
our NAMU sessions here at the NAMM Show are open to you to experience. The tech tracks are here, open to experience. And of course, the GenNext sessions that are open to all of you, which are deliberately designed to help you with that glide path, to get in. And also Saturday at 4 o'clock is the Sandy Feldstein Roundtable, presented in collaboration with the Crane School of Music, SUNY Potsdam. And we have a wonderful group, the Accidentals, that have just signed last week with Sony Masterworks. Cool. So kids just like you 2 or 3 years ago that could have been sitting here and rallied and pulled themselves together.
And NAMU Online.
And NAMU Online. So there's
Just keeps going on.
If there's things like how do you manage supply side, how you manage inventory, how you do cash, how you create an online store. It's pretty transparent and open source. It's a really it's kind of boundless in a certain way what we're trying to create here. So let's do one thing, Ryan. You're going to use your actor skills now. Okay. The one important thing that maybe if you haven't learned this from your faculty members or your parents, that you need to know at the NAMM Show is. Ryan West, so great to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Mary.
I know a little bit about your company, but I'd like to know a lot more.
Well, fantastic. Let me tell you about West Music. So.
Hey, what did I just do? Right?
Look me in the eye, yeah.
And what we just do?
Shook hands. We made connections.
We had a nice, firm handshake. Yeah. We're going to pretty much, if your faculty members don't insist on that, this is, one of the things that for a young person realizing that they're kind of, they're in an entrepreneurial zone. They don't know what the next semester classes are going to be when you graduate. It's going to be your life. Yeah. That's the next semester of classes. And it's that, and you kind of, how many times are you going to put yourself out there like that? A lot. A lot. So I think you passed that.
Thanks.
That's court.
I didn't know what the test was.
Right?
So it's like, are we?
Any final thoughts to our team here?
So I've got information cards for tonight. Please come see us tonight, bowling, or tomorrow afternoon if you've already got plans. Thank you to the College Music Society for putting all this together, as well as Mary and the folks at NAMM. And have a great show, guys. Oh, and I've got, for those folks that ask questions, come see me. I've got something for you guys. A sweatshirt or a t-shirt. They're really soft and they're really
a handshake.
Nice. And a handshake.
And a handshake.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Cool.
Give Ryan a big thank
Great.
you.
Thanks, everybody.